Hello, people of the internet. Come on, good afternoon, good evening, happy Thursday to you all. My goodness, day and the weeks are going by so quickly. It's almost the weekend, but we're almost there. We're jumping back on board with all the albums that I missed yesterday because my goodness, there were so many MVs that dropped yesterday, and pretty much all of them had albums that went along with it. This one being one of them. This one is one that I am so spectacularly excited by because this is Mr. Isle and his newest mixtape. EP, whatever you want to call it, the Medlar Mixtape, and I'm so excited to get into it. We checked out one more yesterday, the MV for it. The song was absolutely gorgeous. I was playing it when I was making dinner yesterday, and it was absolutely brilliant. But we still have, I think, 5 more B-sides to check out, and honestly, it's because I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I didn't, yesterday, like recording me talking about the MV, I feel like it didn't do it enough justice, just from kind of like energy levels I had. It's been a long day. I recorded later in the afternoon. I felt like it wasn't indicative, 100% indicative of how I felt towards it. So we may go through all 6 songs again, but regardless, we're going to do an album listen. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully I'm going to enjoy it. So let's get started. DJ, roll the intro. Now, 2 things about this release. We are going to run through one more very quickly. 2 things. 1, I haven't found any lyric videos for it at the time of recording. 2, I can't pull up the credits on it. I can't find them anywhere. And, well, I could reference Spotify after every single song, and that may be the quickest thing to do. It's going to save time, so we're just going to crank through it. I'll read through the album credits afterwards, so we save a little bit of time, and we'll run through it. Yeah, so like I said, we'll go through one more time. Just skim through it, won't really talk about it too much, just send it, and then we'll do the whole breaking down part from song number 2. So, let's get started. Usually I go on Genius, but the Genius website's down at the moment when I'm recording, which is highly unfortunate because I have two more albums to get to today. Oh, this piano works. Listening to this song makes me want to learn piano again just because the chords are so nice. Let's fall in love one more time. And that hook too is just, the melody is so nice. And just hearing him sing, it's just so Isle, like it's so unmistakably Isle. The very subtle, like, background vocal, like, little call and response that happens throughout, with the subtle harmony, too. Love it one more time. Fall in love it one more time. Fall in love one more time. And that vocal chop for the 3rd time around. Fall in love one more time. Oh, and that falsetto flip is so nice. And thank you, Isle, for actually holding that high note for as long as you did. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if he held it for even longer. falling love you one more time. Let's fall in love you one more time. Bad about midnight. I love that song. All right, let's keep her moving. No one.
I swear I could die for you. Get away, get away, get away. I'll take you anywhere.
What a release. Hello.
Run away, run away. I don't care what they say. There's nobody without you. Nobody like me.
Nice snappy energy to it. Nice and bright. And we get the little high falsetto flips from him again. Oh, and then keep the groove for the second verse one time. What does this remind me of? There's a K-pop song that this reminds me of, and I can't remember what it is. But even when you get this energetic, like snappy song like this, the vocals are still quintessentially Isle. It's like, it doesn't matter what type of song it is, Isle's voice is going to be Isle's voice. And I think so far, like, this album has gone 2 for 2 in terms of like keeping that Isle identity, but going kind of way different directions musically.
Let's get away, get away, get away. I'll take you anywhere. Run away, run away, run away. I don't care what they say. There's nobody without you. Nobody like me, yeah. There's nobody without you. Nobody like some chick, yeah. I'll never shine for a second. Get away, get away, get away. I don't care, I love you more than run away, run away, run away. I'll never shine for a second. Get away, get away, get away. I don't care, I love
Long repeated motif. Wait, don't tell me this is the outro, is it? Oh, hail. Oh, man. Isle, not you too, man. Oh, another one falls to the string meta. Although, having said that, no one, I feel like, isn't as egregious as Victim to that string meta, because the song is so quick that by the time you do reach that outro part that technically should be the bridge, you've already had a decent amount of music pumped into it just because the song, the energy of it, the pacing of it is so quick that you don't really notice or really care about the fact that it's over until you get to like the very end. Like there's really no indication that the song is going to end unless you're really locked in and following it. And sometimes, like, I know this might come across as a little bit hypocritical considering how often I moan about how short songs are getting. But I feel like if this song was any longer, it'd almost be a little bit tiring just from how quick it is. And maybe that's because I still have one more in my mind. That's very interesting. I do like how snappy it got though. It's like the title track, it's a very nice, smooth song. But it's not like a ballady type song. It's not overly energetic. So the fact that we have gone in that brighter direction with No One, I think is a solid setup for the next song. Which is Don't Wanna Fall. Get some more sunlight in this room, shall we? And then speaking of sound switches, we went from nice and smooth to very bright. Sounds like ballady. Hearing his voice with that cello in the background. It's also a very Hopi Pola coded song at the moment. Whoa! A little fake release with a big old timpani roll. Bring in some... Actually, it might be this way. Little pizzicato string section now instead of bowed. Interesting, this song like pulsates. It's got like a heartbeat to it. Oh! It's got kind of like an uplifting anthem kind of ballad vibe now. I also like how prominent that drum part is. I love that. Oh, give it some beans one time. Hold on. Whoa. Completely dropped the bottom out. Let it ring. Let it ring. Alright, Don't Wanna Fall is kind of an experience. As you start, it starts so gentle, so soft, so sweet. I mean, admittedly, I don't know what the lyrics are saying, so it might be a really depressing song or something of the sort. But the way the song starts, it's so pretty. It's very light, very delicate, very ornate, if you will. And then it picks up. The drums come in. And then the mood of the song switches. Those drums do so much for the song. I feel like it's gonna be... I mean, I don't know how many people are going to check this out in the way that normal K-pop releases would. But Don't Wanna Fall is a song where it is entirely driven through the drum section. You rarely come across a song that has this much of like a roller coaster of a journey through from beginning to end, purely down to one instrumental part in the song. Because it's not IO's voice that's driving the song forward. No, it is entirely down to the drum part that's driving the song forward, what the feeling of the song is like. Because as soon as those floor toms or like the timpani, like that first timpani roll, you know there's a release coming. You don't get it. In fact, that timpani roll, the floor tom roll, is essentially what signals the beginning of that uplifting kind of anthem vibe with the drums. The dun, 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 dun. And you feel that power. And that power is translated through the rest of the instrumentals, through IO's voice. And once you get to that full flourish of that final chorus where you have IO throwing everything at it vocally, in terms of like that gritty, raw, emotional power. And that's translated through the drum part gaining intensity, gaining volume, the string parts having the big glissando, big broad bow strokes. And then at the end of it, you want to finish it properly, boom, you knock out everything but the piano part. Isle's voice goes from that maximum power, drops down to almost a whisper. You can hear his breath being taken whenever he's singing. It's mic'd up closer. You can hear the gain on the microphone's been cranked up. The piano is super soft. You can almost hear the hammer on each key move as the song comes to an end. That is a journey, and I love it. Oh my goodness. Someday. I can't find the meter for it yet. What's the meter here? Oh! Sometimes you get songs like this where in the opening like intro part, it really doesn't reveal what the meter of the song is. Would not have expected this. Oh, hello, hold on. Oh, I was not expecting it to get kind of funky. Oh, and it keeps growing. Yeah, it's like a modern spin on the jazz funk fusion era. It's definitely taking composition cues from that era, or at least that's how my ears are perceiving it. But doing it in a very modern way. Definitely a lot more straightforward than the 80s jazz fusion scene. This guitar inclusion, though, is a very nice choice. It adds a little bit of an extra twinkle to it, little funky to it. A little bit spicier on the drum part. Extra guitar part. And then again, cut out the bottom, leave piano and aisle. Little fake riser at the end too. Very interesting way to cap off the song. Because up until that very last part, it was very much giving me, oh gosh, I've forgotten what the name of the song was now. Don't Wanna Fall. It was giving me very big Don't Wanna Fall vibes. Like, in terms of the sequence of how the song progressed, how, like, what parts were moving in the song, I thought it was going to end similar, but we got a little bit of that extra something something at the end, which makes me wonder if the next song is supposed to connect directly into Someday, because sometimes you'd get songs, especially is my kind of knowledge area when it comes to musical albums is like 80s rock albums. So on Def Leppard's High and Dry album, a song called Bringing On a Heartbreak, which is then immediately succeeded by Switch 625, which is an instrumental track. And on the CDs or on the vinyls, if you play it, it's like, you know how Spotify does seamless transitions between songs when you're streaming? It's essentially like that. It was recorded in a way where it's two songs, Bringing On a Heartbreak and Switch 625. And they just cut it off because they're technically two different songs, even though in actuality they're connected with each other. So I wonder if the next song is going to be connected to Someday in any way, shape, and form. But again, this album's kind of doing like a sine curve, like a sine wave in a way where it's starts off a little bit emotional, then it goes bright, emotional, bright. And it's kind of flip-flopping back and forth, which is a really interesting way to lay out an album, because usually, well, I don't want to say usually, a lot of pop albums, especially ones that I've come across this year, have had a pretty gradual transition from beginning to end. So some albums, you'll have a pretty linear curve, so you'll go from like the energetic to more like tame, smooth, and finish with like a ballad. You sometimes have like an inverse bell curve where you start off with energetic, get a little bit emotional in the middle, and then end on the energetic high note. But I don't think I've come across many albums that follow kind of a sine wave in terms of like the energy feelings throughout the song, which is very interesting. All right, let's find out. Okay, Worst does not connect to Someday. Also, we have a feature artist? Tama? Let me Google that person while we're moving. Tama is a vocalist. Okay, cool. And again, off the rip, we're kind of getting back into the emotional side of things a little bit. Maybe not as like emo gloomy, but it's not bright at all. It's definitely the most modern sounding song we've had, I think. It's got that trap beat behind it. The production is definitely more synth-oriented, digitally oriented. Lots of reverb, vocal chops. I was not expecting the electric guitar to come in here. Okay, but the style isn't gonna switch. They're gonna keep that trap beat, but add the electric guitar in. Get smooth as that. Interesting that it's kind of lost the entire like trap beat identity, and now it's an emo rock anthem now. Like, even with the intensity of the electric guitar and the drums, the beat of it is still that slow 4, which keeps it from running off and turning into just a rock banger. Very controlled. Yeah, that chugging guitar, that constant chugging guitar is actually a bit of a red herring, which is very cool. Because sometimes those beats are... Oh, you know what? I spoke too soon. They're gonna let the beat run free a little bit. Wow. I am surprised at how that song ended. I thought they were gonna hold that kind of like rocking anthem vibe where it's, you know, it's got a beat that's coming and going pretty quickly, but coming and going where it's keeping the beat restrained. And I was going to make the comment that that chugging electric guitar part in the instrumental is a bit of a red herring, because when you hear that on its own, you imagine the beat to pick up a little bit, but it doesn't. But at the very end, they let that entire like electric guitar and electric band vibe, that instrumental beat, take it into the double time speed it's wanted to for the entirety of the song, and just let it kind of roam free, which is very interesting, because with how the song starts, the way the song ends really doesn't feel like it should connect together, but because the song just slowly evolves from that kind of slow trap beat with this, and then into a slow trap beat with a chugging guitar to add a little bit of bite. that transition and that progression is so natural that it doesn't feel out of place. Had I listened to it from the beginning, listened to like the first 30 seconds, and then skipped ahead, this would be a very jarring ending to the song. But because they incorporated it slowly but surely, it's like, you know what, here, have a food analogy for it. It's like you're making a roux or a bechamel, a cream sauce. You know, you've got your oil, you've got your fat, your lipids, you've got your flour in your pot, in your saucepan. You've got it all cohered together. When you add the cream or the milk, you don't add it in all at once because then it's not going to blend. It's going to split, it's going to boil, it's going to curdle, it's going to be gross. So you take your warm milk and you add it slowly but surely, making sure that it's well incorporated into the paste, into the flour and lipid paste in the pan before you add the next batch of milk. And then you slowly add it in so it coheres nicely. It's nice and smooth. That is what Worst is in music form. They slowly added the electric guitar and the electric band portion so that it doesn't split the song, it doesn't curdle the song. I like that. I like that. Very smart. Ghost. Let's see what this one is. Worst is also kind of thrown the sine curve off its trail because it started off a little bit emo and then it's like it took up 2 portions of the sine curve, which is not what I had in mind. I'm hoping you won't be able to hear the bin man outside because the garbage truck has showed up. The eerie reverb is very interesting. It's like Isle's voice almost feels like it rings a little bit too much. Also, the way that the song hasn't like grown in the way a normal song would at this point. It's been pretty consistent. We haven't had like a big flourish because I feel like there should have been a chorus by now. Here we go. Nice. Nice, heavy, heavy song. That chorus progression is very nice, very intense, very meaty. You feel every single hit of it. What? What? It's over already. I thought we were gonna go into a second verse. Oh! Oh, this one I feel betrayed on. Now hold on a second, that's not fair. Is this? That's how the album ends? Oh! Oh. But you know what? All the moaning aside, Ghost is actually quite an interesting song from an album structure point of view because it does feel like, because of how short it is, or because of how short it appears to be, since we really only get one major chorus release, it feels like an appropriate outro song. Even though it is almost 2 minutes 40 seconds, and that in this day and age can be considered a full-length song, it doesn't feel like one, but it's okay that it doesn't because it's the final song on the album, if that makes sense. Am I a little bit upset that we didn't get that release one more time? A little bit, because that release was nice. It was heavy, it was dark, it was like, you could feel the strain and the emotion and the power and like the The raw emotional power in that release was so nice, especially with just how intense that instrumental got so quickly. It's like it's like, the dam bursting, like that metaphor. When a dam bursts, it really goes. Like it can be really gradual, and then all of a sudden everything goes wrong. Ghost and that final chorus release very much feels like a dam breaking, where it's like you feel something's gonna happen, and then that first brick goes, and then you get that big rush of energy, and then everything comes through. Mm. Mm. All right, let's talk. This was great, and this isn't because I love Hopipola and I adore them to bits. But no, this is unrelated to Hopipola and my admiration and love I have for the members. This is legitimately a very cool album to listen to. It's an album where you could really listen to it in any order you want, and you'll have a different experience every single time. If you listen to it from beginning to end, it does take you on that sine curve roller coaster where it goes a little bit smooth, energetic, and it's that constant oscillating effect of what type of energy you're going to get from the song. In terms of song styles, you get a pretty wide range. You get a nice heavy rock sound, you get a little bit of like trap meets rock, you get a nice bright like rock pop sound, you get a little bit of a smoother but also still emotional rock sound. You get a pretty nice spread of things to choose from. And well, if you're someone who knows Isle and his voice, this is gonna be one of those where it's like, okay, hell yeah, I can see the Isle, and you get different flavors of it, but it's still quintessentially Isle at the end of the day. And as I don't know how many, oh my goodness, as many times as I complain about songs being short, at the end of the day, that is kind of become the norm now, and it's just gonna be me beating a dead horse in like a little bit from how much I complain about it. But with this album, like really, apart from Ghost, which if I think about it as an outro track, really isn't a big of an issue. I don't mind the songs being short if like the amount of music you get within that short span of time can make up for the fact that the song is a little bit shorter. Like, let's see here. So No One and Ghost are short. Like on the YouTube Music plays, they're 2 minutes 39 a piece, so about 2:38 on Spotify. Everything else is, well, Don't Wanna Fall is 3:25. Everything else is like 3-minute 5-ish. And so you're getting a decent amount of music. But ultimately, you're getting a decent amount of music from Isle. And he's kind of a one in a million voice, if I can say that. Because his voice is so charismatic to me. Like, he's got, I mean, both Hopipola vocalists are, I find, very charming, very interesting to listen to. But when it comes to Isle and his voice, the way he's able to retain that kind of emotional warble in his high chest voice and incorporate that regardless of what genre of music it is really interesting. Like, this isn't meant to like compare and bring down one or the other, but if we're really talking about from a Hopipola point of view, and I've mentioned this before, the vocal contrast that you get between Isle and Hyunsang is magnitudes. It speaks volumes on its own right. They're both energetic, but they're also emotional vocalists. And I mean, we joke around whenever there's a Hyunsang release that, how many divorces has he gone through on this song? But Isle, interestingly enough, sings with the kind of emotional value that really just is persistent, and yet you don't feel like the emotional part of it come through, if that makes sense. Like, you hear the emotion in his voice, but the first thing that I pick up when I hear Isle's voice isn't the fact that it sounds like an emotional part, it's the texture that his emotional voice has. That little warble, that nice vibrato, that kind of like buzzing he has in that high chest voice. I find that part of his emotional voice so cool. And genuinely, I cannot name anyone else who does it like he does. Oh. Um, the album's great. The album might actually rank pretty highly at the end of the year, come soloist album of the year. Same with One More. One More might actually rank pretty highly on soloist title track of the year. Although having said that, that list is so stupidly long, I don't know where he'll end up. And there have been some magnificent solo title tracks this year, but he'll rank somewhere, I reckon, because that was very nice. That was very pleasant, and I very much enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well, but that is it for me today. Thank you all for watching along with me once again. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. One last request from me, say let's work together as a community to bring a little bit of extra happiness back into the world, whether it be, checking with your friends and family, holding the door open for somebody, or even picking up a piece of trash off the street. Just one small act of kindness that may brighten up someone else's day to day. And know that wherever you are in the world, should you ever be going through a tough time in your life, for whatever reason it may be, even though I'm just some guy on the internet who waffles about music in his free time, know that I will always be a friend, ally, and a shoulder to lean on whenever you need me. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, spread the love, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.